Kindness is one of the most celebrated human virtues, a trait that carries the potential to transform lives, mend relationships, and build communities. However, like many virtues, kindness can be misunderstood and misapplied. When kindness is offered without boundaries, it often ceases to be an empowering force and becomes an invitation for exploitation. This does not mean kindness is inherently flawed. It means we must approach it with wisdom and discernment. Imagine a scenario: you are known as the person who never says no. Friends, family, and colleagues come to you for help because they know you will oblige. At first, it feels good to be needed and appreciated. However, over time, the requests grow in number and scope, leaving you drained and overwhelmed. Worse yet, you notice that those benefiting from your kindness rarely reciprocate or express genuine gratitude. They begin to assume your support is an entitlement rather than a gift. This is the trap of boundary-less kindness. When you consistently give without setting limits, people often mistake your generosity for weakness. They may come to view you as a resource to be tapped into rather than a person deserving respect and consideration. This erosion of respect is not necessarily malicious, but rather a byproduct of human nature. People tend to take what is freely offered without contemplating its impact on the giver. Boundary-less kindness also creates an imbalance in relationships. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, understanding, and reciprocity. When one person gives disproportionately while the other takes without giving back, resentment inevitably takes root. The giver may feel used, while the taker, often oblivious, continues their behavior unchecked. The absence of boundaries in kindness doesn't only affect interpersonal dynamics, it also impacts your self-worth. Over time, constantly saying yes to others at the expense of your own needs can erode your confidence and self-esteem. You may begin to question whether your worth is tied solely to how much you do for others. This mindset can trap you in a cycle of overextending yourself to gain approval or validation. It's also important to recognize that unbounded kindness can harm the very people you aim to help. By always stepping in to solve problems or fulfill needs, you may inadvertently enable dependency. For instance, if you consistently bail someone out of difficult situations without encouraging them to take responsibility, you deprive them of the opportunity to grow, learn, and develop resilience. So how do you practice kindness without falling into the trap of exploitation? The answer lies in establishing healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not barriers, they are guidelines that protect your well-being while allowing you to extend kindness in a sustainable way. First, recognize your own limits. Understand that your time, energy, and resources are finite, and it's okay to prioritize them. Saying no when necessary is not a rejection of kindness, it's an affirmation of self-respect. Second, assess the intent and impact of your kindness. Are you giving out of genuine compassion, or are you acting out of fear of rejection or a desire for approval? Similarly, consider whether your actions are truly helping the other person or simply enabling their dependence on you. Lastly, communicate your boundaries clearly and assertively. Let others know what you are willing and able to do and stick to those limits. While some may initially resist or misunderstand your stance, those who genuinely value you will respect your boundaries over time. Kindness is one of humanity's greatest strengths, but it must be tempered with wisdom and self-awareness. When offered without boundaries, kindness risks becoming a source of exploitation rather than empowerment. By setting clear limits, you can ensure that your kindness uplifts both you and those around you, creating a healthier, more balanced dynamic in all areas of life. Kindness is a powerful and admirable trait, often praised for its ability to heal wounds, foster connection, and create positive change. However, kindness without discernment can lead to unintended consequences, particularly when it is misplaced or overextended. One of the most significant risks of misplaced kindness is that it can cause burnout and resentment, both of which can undermine your relationships and your own well-being. Burnout occurs when you exhaust yourself emotionally, mentally, and physically by continuously giving without receiving adequate rest or support. Kindness, when practiced without balance, can become an unending drain on your energy. Imagine a candle burning at both ends. Eventually, it will burn out completely. Similarly, when you pour all your resources into meeting the needs of others while neglecting your own, you set yourself on a path to exhaustion. This cycle often begins with good intentions. You want to help, support, or uplift others, and at first it feels rewarding. However, as the demands grow, you may find yourself taking on more than you can handle. People might begin to expect your help rather than appreciate it, and their expectations can escalate over time. Without realizing it, you become the go-to person for solving problems, offering support, or stepping in during crises. The pressure to always be available for others can lead to feelings of overwhelm. You may start sacrificing your own needs, skipping rest, or neglecting personal priorities to meet the expectations of others. Over time, this imbalance takes a toll on your health, your emotional stability, and your overall happiness. What's even more troubling is that misplaced kindness often leads to resentment. Resentment arises when you feel unappreciated or taken advantage of, yet you continue to give because you feel obligated to do so. You might begin to notice that the people you're helping rarely reciprocate your efforts or fail to acknowledge the sacrifices you're making. This lack of appreciation can be painful, especially when your kindness comes from a genuine place of care. Over time, bitterness can set in, creating a rift in your relationships. You may start to feel anger or frustration toward the very people you wanted to help, which can lead to guilt and further strain your emotional well-being. It's important to recognize that resentment doesn't mean you are unkind or ungrateful. It is a natural response to imbalance. When you feel like your kindness is being exploited or taken for granted, it's a sign that your boundaries need to be reevaluated. Misplaced kindness can also distort your sense of identity and self-worth. If you find yourself constantly giving to others while neglecting yourself, you might begin to feel like your value is tied to how much you can do for others. This mindset can trap you in a cycle of overextending yourself, leaving little room for your own growth, happiness, or fulfillment. So how can you avoid the pitfalls of misplaced kindness and prevent burnout and resentment? The key lies in practicing balanced kindness. First, understand that kindness must begin with yourself. Prioritize self-care, rest, and personal boundaries. Remember that you cannot pour from an empty cup. When you take care of yourself, you are better equipped to care for others. Second, learn to say no without guilt. Kindness does not mean saying yes to every request. It's okay to acknowledge your limitations and set boundaries that protect your time and energy. Third, give with intention. Before offering your help, ask yourself whether your kindness is truly beneficial or if it might unintentionally enable dependency. Consider whether your actions align with your values and long-term goals. Finally, communicate openly with others. Let them know what you can and cannot do. Clear communication fosters mutual respect and helps prevent misunderstandings or unrealistic expectations. Kindness is a gift, but it must be offered wisely. When kindness is balanced with self-respect and discernment, it has the power to uplift both the giver and the receiver. By setting healthy boundaries and protecting your own well-being, you can avoid the traps of burnout and resentment, allowing your kindness to shine as a source of strength and positivity. Kindness is a universal virtue, a force for good that has the power to change lives and build bridges. Yet kindness alone is not enough to navigate the complexities of human relationships. Without discernment, even the most well-intentioned acts of kindness can go astray, leading to unintended consequences for both the giver and the receiver. Discernment, the ability to judge wisely and act thoughtfully, is essential for practicing balanced kindness that uplifts and empowers rather than enabling or harming. To understand the importance of discernment and kindness, consider this: not every act of kindness is truly helpful. Imagine someone struggling with a problem that requires them to take responsibility and grow. If you step in and solve the problem for them, your kindness may provide temporary relief, but it could also rob them of the opportunity to learn and develop resilience. Discernment allows you to recognize when helping is appropriate and when it might hinder someone's progress. Balanced kindness requires a deeper awareness of context and consequences. It's not about withholding kindness, but about channeling it in ways that genuinely benefit others. For instance, there are times when saying no to a request is the kindest thing you can do. While it may seem counterintuitive, denying someone's immediate desires can encourage them to find their own solutions, fostering independence and self-reliance. Discernment helps you differentiate between situations that call for support and those that require tough love. Another critical aspect of discernment is understanding your own limitations. Kindness without boundaries can lead to exhaustion, as you continuously pour your energy into others while neglecting yourself. Discernment allows you to recognize when you are overextending yourself and helps you prioritize your well-being. You cannot give your best to others if you are running on empty. Setting limits is not selfish, it is a necessary step towards sustainable generosity. Discernment also plays a vital role in identifying motives, both yours and others. Why are you choosing to be kind in a particular situation? Are you acting out of genuine compassion, or are you seeking validation or approval? On the other hand, discernment can help you recognize when others might be manipulating your kindness for their own gain. Not everyone who asks for help has noble intentions, and it is important to guard against exploitation. To practice discernment and kindness, start by listening carefully both to others and to yourself. When someone asks for your help, take a moment to consider the situation fully. What do they truly need, and what is the best way to support them? Similarly, listen to your inner voice. Are you feeling pressured to act out of obligation, or are you genuinely willing and able to help? Honest reflection can guide your actions toward balance and meaningful kindness. Next, evaluate the potential outcomes of your actions. Will your kindness empower the other person, or could it unintentionally enable unhealthy behaviors? For example, offering financial assistance to someone in need can be life-changing, but if that assistance becomes habitual without addressing the root cause of their struggles, it may perpetuate dependency rather than providing a solution. Discernment helps you strike a balance between immediate compassion and long-term impact. Another way to cultivate discernment is to seek advice or perspectives from trusted individuals. Sometimes an outside perspective can shed light on nuances you may have overlooked. By discussing your intentions and concerns with others, you can gain valuable insights that guide your actions toward balanced kindness. Finally, embrace the courage to act according to your discernment, even if it feels uncomfortable in the moment. Saying no or setting boundaries can be challenging, especially when you fear disappointing others. However, true kindness is not about always pleasing people. It is about acting in ways that are beneficial and fair to all parties involved, including yourself. Discernment is what transforms kindness from a simple act into a powerful force for good. It allows you to navigate the complexities of human relationships with wisdom and compassion, ensuring that your kindness uplifts rather than depletes. By practicing discernment, you can create a balance that honors both your needs and the needs of others, making your kindness a source of strength, growth, and genuine connection.